Hello and welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show here on the Warrior Sports Network. Grant Wall joined as always by Winona State head coach Mike Leaf. And Coach Leaf, it's been a couple weeks since we've sat down and talked, but it's been a very productive couple weeks for the Warrior basketball team. Moved your record to 6-0 or 6-1, on the year, and got your first conference win over Upper Iowa on Saturday. So a lot of good things have been happening for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And those games leading up to the first conference game against Upper Iowa, really trying to improve ourselves at both ends of the floor. Obviously, we've really been working hard on our defense, and I thought it really paid off against Upper Iowa. They're a unique basketball team in the fact that they run a type of continuity, and within that continuity, they have a lot of different cuts and things off of it. And so you really have to pay particular attention to your man and at the same time know where the ball is at all times. So we played some great defense there, and probably the best thing about that first conference game under our belt was the fact that we were on the road. And I will say this, it is tough to win on the road in the NSIC. But we did such a great job rebounding, and it was all five guys that were on the floor at a particular time in the game, but everybody crashed the boards, and we were able to come away with the victory.
You talk about the win over Upper Iowa, a team that everybody here in Winona got to see earlier this year. They were part of that Winona State Basketball Classic a few weeks ago, and a team that everybody came away very impressed with. Not necessarily the most athletic team, but a team that was very sound and just played strong team basketball together. Got to look at them, and then you were able to go down and pretty early on in that game kind of begin to exert your will and go off to what would prove to be an easy victory.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize, once you start getting into our conference games and we start to get some officials that we'll have during the course of the year, and they do let you play, and so it's a much more physical game. And we were just playing. We knew they had a couple good shooters from the perimeter. They usually have to be pretty open to be able to take those threes, and then they got a nice presence inside. So we were able to take away those early threes and played some great post defense. So, it was a real good team effort there at both ends of the floor, but especially defensively. And like I said, that rebounding has been a little thorn in our side, and we did a nice job there. And, coming up this weekend, we got two big games, and, we're going to have to rebound that much better.
And one of those guys who rebounded the ball very well and has all year, but especially in Fayette, is Taylor Cameron. You got 13 rebounds out of essentially your point guard, so some fantastic production from TC.
Yeah, we really have talked about the fact that our perimeter guys, we can't just rely on Clayton or any of our big guys inside to do all of our rebounding. Our perimeter's got to go in there, and the kid's about 6'5", and he was able to get into the paint and get, I think it was 9 boards in that first half, which really set the tone. And I think across the board, our perimeter guys have they've got good hops in there. Grant Johnson gets in there, and he'll get some boards for us. Kellen Taylor will get a lot of rebounds for us, and it's not just defensively, but also at the offensive end. And, it really, if you're playing offense and against Upper Iowa and you take a shot and you miss it, and then you get that tip out or you get that rebound, it really does. It just takes the air out of that defense, and you get another opportunity with the new shot clock. So those things are really important, and like I stress, each possession is so important, and those guys did a great job, and especially TC that night.
And you mentioned Clayton Vetty, one of those guys who you count on down low every night. He had 20 points, 9 rebounds in that win over Upper Iowa. He's averaging right around 16 and 9 for the season. He's a guy who was played extremely well last year in all-conference selection, and over the first few weeks of the season has come out and is playing at an even higher level than what he did last year.
Yeah, he's got a great confidence going right now. But, one of the things that us as coaches we've got to look at is it's real early in the year, and, he's going to really take a pounding. And teams do key on him. He's done a nice job distributing the ball when he's been double-teamed. But we've got to keep an eye on him and just watch his minutes, because we do have to keep him fresh. And now, you get into back-to-backs with Friday, Saturday nights, and it does take its toll. So we've got to keep an eye on that. But he's performed very well to date so far, and he's got a nice confidence riding right now.
And you mentioned his ability to kick the ball out. Whenever any of the posts are being doubled right now, your cupboard is very full of shooters. And we'll talk to one of them, Grant Johnson, here in a little bit on the show. But you have a lot of guys who are really shooting the ball very well early in the season.
Yeah, and we've got to make sure that we get open looks from that perimeter. But we're really stressing the fact as well as, and you mentioned, Grant Johnson and all of our perimeters, even Taylor Cameron, someone who will take the ball to the basket, but he's so used to distributing that he's got to be a threat to finish. And that's what we really need to stress, is that you've got to be a threat not only to shoot that three on the perimeter, but also be able to finish taking the ball to the basket, or you can kick it out. But those things are elements that we've got to do a nice job of, and Grant does a great job of that. Taylor did a nice job his last couple ball games, and he's starting to feel more comfortable that, hey, if that pass isn't there, I do have to be able to hit the short jump shot or finish. And, to be that threat, I think defenses look at you then and they say, hey, we can't just key on one or two guys. We've got to key on all five.
And it's been a team effort throughout these first 7 games of the year, including a game against Minot State where you hit 18 3-pointers. I think 5 or 6 of your first field goals that game were threes. I mean, when this team gets it going, they can really get it going.
Yeah, and it certainly wasn't planned that way.
Yeah.
And, you like to be able to knock those threes down, and especially early, because it opens up the driving lanes we talk about and your inside presence. And I've been a firm believer in balanced scoring, and if you can get 4 or 5 guys in double figures, you're going to have a great chance of winning a bowl game. But our stress has been on the defensive end, and that's something that we've got to continue to do. We just can't rest on your laurels, as people will say. We had a nice game against Upper Iowa. This weekend we're going to have 2 extremely tough defensive, for us defensively, we've got to play extremely well, because both these teams can score on the perimeter and from the inside in Duluth and Bemidji. So our game has got to continue to escalate at both ends of the floor.
And we'll talk about Duluth and Bemidji when we come back with you in a couple segments here on the Mike Leaf Show. Up next is going to be Grant Johnson, a Warrior Junior, playing his first year here with Winona State. We'll sit down and talk to him when we come back.
Are you looking for great off-campus housing? Great River Management and Sales has a large selection of houses and apartments representing many of Winona's property owners. Owners and renters rely on Great River Management. Stop by the Great River Boat at Main and Broadway and see what we can do for you.
Hello and welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show here on the Warrior Sports Network, what we've begun affectionately calling the Grant segment. I'm Grant Wall, joined by Warrior Junior Grant Johnson, and Grant, it's your first year here at Winona State after transferring from Wisconsin Parkside. Just tell us a little bit about the experience, your first 7 games in a Warrior uniform.
The experience has been good. The transition wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. The way they accepted me here was almost like I was a teammate already. I did play summer ball with a few of the guys, played with CJ, Kellen, Joel, Caleb in the summer league, so I got acquainted with those guys. But, so far the season's gone, really good. I couldn't ask for much more.
Talk about the way you've been playing this season so far. You're shooting the ball very well. You've shown your athleticism already, both on the offensive and defensive end. How comfortable are you out on the floor right now?
I'm comfortable. I mean, I try not to think about it too much. I just go out there and play. I know what I can do. I know what I can't do, and I try to use what I can do to the best of my advantage on both sides of the court, offense and defense.
You've been able to score points very easily, averaging in double figures, shooting the ball from the outside, and you can also take it to the basket. Which one are you more comfortable doing? Are you more comfortable getting into the lane and creating from there, or do you just like to spot up and rain some threes?
The best part about my game is the mid-range game. I would say that's my strength. I can't shoot threes and I can't take it to the bucket, but if I had to choose what I would want to do, it'd probably be my pull-up game. So.
This team is, and Coach Leaf has talked about this a lot, it's so deep, both in the perimeter and down under the basket. But how much does that depth help you guys in practice and in game situations, knowing that if somebody doesn't have it going or gets in foul trouble, there's somebody sitting on the bench who's ready to come in and contribute?
It helps a lot, especially in practice. I mean, when we go against guys that are going to get game time, it helps a lot. And in games, if someone's not on, we have 5 guys that can go off for 20 any given night. And, it's going to be rare if all of us are off. And if one guy's off, there's going to be 3 on. 2 guys are off, 4 are going to be on. It's just, we have too many weapons on offense.
We talked to Coach Leaf about how important every game is in the NSIC. What have the guys done to kind of help you prepare for the long conference grind?
They just tell me to keep my head focused and stay in the game. And coming from Parkside, we had that long schedule in the GLVC, which was a grind too. And I have some experience there, so coming in, I had some experience, so that helped me out.
What were your thoughts on Upper Iowa and getting that first conference win under your belt? I think we were ready to go into that game. I think we all had the mindset, especially they did. They lost last year, like they said, or like Leaf said. And I think they had the mindset of just go in there and win. And me, I always want to win, so that was my mindset, and we went in there and got the job done. We'll get you out of here on this question, but you played it at Wisconsin Parkside. And then looking to transfer, what made Winona State an attractive place, and what made you want to come here and play?
I would say the people, the way that they were so willing and accepting to have me come here, and I felt super comfortable with all the guys, and it was kind of an easy decision. So.
All right, well, it's been fun watching you so far this year. We'll look for some more made baskets and some more victories as Grant Johnson and the Warriors go on the rest of this season. And we'll be right back, one more segment on the Mike Leaf Show. We'll sit back down with Coach and preview this weekend's home opener.
Financial startophobia. Fear of financial endeavors causing putting off till the day after tomorrow that which should have been done the day before yesterday.
If you have financial startophobia, I would recommend Merchants Bank. I had a little touch of financial startophobia, had a good recommendation, I went to the bank and had a great experience. Merchants Bank has personal service. I'm not afraid of anything. They've been around for over 130 years. You know who you're dealing with. Merchants Bank, the bank that service built.
And welcome back to the Mike Leaf Show. Coach, you mentioned earlier in the show 2 extremely important games early in the season. Minnesota Duluth and Bemidji State coming in to McCowan Gymnasium this weekend. Your first NSIC home games of the year. These are 2 extremely talented and extremely physical teams. This is going to be a really, really good early barometer for where you guys are.
You bet. And I tell you, I can't stress it enough how, I say important games early in the year, but how every single game is so important as far as, not just in your conference, but across the nation and things that you're able to do. And they're just vital each and every game, and you can't make mistakes early, and you can't make mistakes down the stretch. So every game is important, and we have always not looked past your next opponent. And with the 2 teams coming up this weekend, Bemidji is, I think, one of the tougher teams in our league. Actually, both of them are, and they've got great records right now. A little different in their philosophies, but Bemidji is going to do a 5-man motion. They're going to have guys that are going to light it up, and they will take a lot of shots. They've got quickness, take the ball to the basket. You really can't rest on any individual that's out there on the floor. And then you look at a Duluth squad who's always been known to have a couple guys that come off a lot of screens. They do headhunt on their screens. Their big guys will be very physical. Duluth is always known to be a physical team, and they will. They'll headhunt and they'll take your head off if you don't know that a screen is coming. And their presence inside is, maybe. They're talented because they will get their 10, 12 points, but the biggest thing that they do is rebound. And, both teams, playing those 2 teams back to back is going to be very physical.
Is it an advantage that you have such a veteran team this year, guys who have been through the NSIC battles once or twice already? You don't have to tell them how physical and how important these games are earlier in the year. They already know, and does that help them kind of get ready for these games?
Absolutely, and they share the wealth of knowledge with the newer teammates, but there's no question that it's going to be physical, and it'll be physical throughout the year. And it does take its toll. We try and keep them fresh the best we can, and I think that's something where last year we would fizzle a few times there in that second game on Saturday, and we're not going to let that happen. And we want to be fresh for both games, and we're trying to pinpoint certain things to go after during the course of the week, early on and throughout the year, and try and keep those legs fresh.
We've talked at length about your perimeter depth. And everybody knows just how deep you are with guys who can drive and who can shoot the basket out there on the perimeter. But you have to be very happy with where your posts are right now. You have a rotation of 4 or 5 guys who can play underneath the basket and who can give you significant minutes. Just talk about how important those guys are going to be these 2 games this weekend, and then every weekend going forward. As like you've said before, there's no night off in the NSIC.
No, and we've pushed Clayton Vetty to play a lot of minutes early on, and you've got guys that do come off the bench, and I would like to see them continue to improve and get more minutes. Even if it's a 1 or 2 or 3 minutes here or there, it makes a big difference. And especially in close basketball games, when you're down the stretch, and you've got to have those fresh legs, and you don't want to see a guy having to play 35 minutes every night. So these guys are coming along. They're doing a nice job for us, but it's really vital, and the next few weeks are going to tell us a lot of things.
And then, not to look too far down the road, but the following weekend go on the road to Minnesota State Mankato and Southwest Minnesota State. So your first 5 games here in the NSIC, when it's Christmas time, you're going to be able to look back and really see how you did in 5 good early NSIC wars, and be able to take some stock where your team is, when we're sitting here at Christmas.
Yeah, it's like I said, you can't really look past anybody. And last year is a great example. We lost to Upper Iowa down there. We lost to Crookston up at their place. And that's a reminder right there for all of us, because every game means so much, and I don't care who we're playing. And so, we play Southwest and Mankato down the line here, and heck, we're going to play Northern and Mary and everybody else. A Moorhead team that's playing, so many great teams. So, right now our focus is on Bemidji and Duluth, and I say both because during the week we have to prepare for both of them. But that's where our focus is right now, and let's take care of business this weekend, and then we'll worry about the next 2 games on the road.
Well, it's going to be an awesome weekend here in McCown Gymnasium again. It's going to be 8 o'clock on Friday night, and then 7 o'clock Saturday. Bemidji State and Minnesota Duluth come into town. Some great NSIC basketball. We'll see you there, Coach, and hopefully we will see all of you here as the Warriors open their NSIC home schedule.